You are tired. I know you are tired. You wake up before the sun, push your body or your brain through 8 to 10 hours of tasks that do not belong to you, and you return home with just enough energy to eat, sleep, and do it all again. You have been told that if you are struggling, it is because you are not working hard enough. You have been told that if your bank account is empty, it is because you lack discipline or talent. I am here to tell you that those are lies. You are not failing the system. The system is functioning exactly as it was designed to function. Your exhaustion is its fuel. Your struggle is its profit. We are starting a journey today to look behind the curtain of the world you think you know. We are going to deconstruct the machinery that keeps you small. And we are going to start with the most fundamental trap of all. Imagine a giant, gleaming treadmill sitting in the middle of a beautiful field. This treadmill is not like the one at your local gym. It is miles long and thousands of people are running on it at the same time. At the front of the treadmill, just out of reach, is a high-definition screen showing you everything you have ever wanted. It shows a house with a yard, a car that does not make a clicking sound when you turn the key, and a retirement where you can finally breathe. To keep those images playing, you have to keep running. But there is a secret to the machine. The belt of the treadmill is not powered by electricity. It is powered by your debt. Every time you swipe a plastic card for something you cannot afford today, you are tightening the gears. Every time you sign a loan for a degree that promised a future it did not deliver, you are increasing the incline. You think you are running toward a goal, but you are actually just powering the very floor that is moving beneath your feet. The architects of this machine are not your neighbors or your boss. The villain here is the institutionalized design of debt-based consumption. This system needs you to be just wealthy enough to stay healthy, but just poor enough to stay desperate. If you were to stop running, the whole machine would grind to a halt. The banks, the credit card companies, and the massive corporations that sell you your own identity back to you rely on one thing: your belief that the treadmill is the only way to move forward. They want you to think that borrowing from your future self is a sign of progress. They call it leverage. They call it building credit. What they do not call it is what it actually is: a leash. When you owe money to the system, you lose the right to say no. You cannot quit a job that drains your soul if you have a car payment due on the 1st. You cannot take a risk on a new business if you are terrified of a missed mortgage payment. Debt is the gravity that keeps you stuck on the belt. Let us look at how this trap was actually built. In the old days, if you wanted something, you had to save the physical gold or silver to get it. This was slow. The system did not like slow. The system likes speed because speed creates friction, and friction creates heat that the system can harvest. So they decoupled value from physical reality. They created a world where you could have the thing today and pay for it with the hours of your life you have not even lived yet. Think about that for a second. When you take on high-interest debt, you are literally selling your future time to a stranger at a discount. You are saying that your freedom in 5 years is worth less than a new television today. The system loves this trade. It loves it because while you are getting a piece of plastic that will be obsolete in 24 months, the system is getting a guaranteed claim on your labor for the next 5 years. It has essentially bought a piece of your life. This design is everywhere. It is in the way the city is built, making you dependent on a vehicle that requires financing. It is in the way education is priced, ensuring you start your adult life in a hole you have to dig out of. It is even in the way we talk about success. We have been trained to look at what people possess rather than what they own. If a man drives a luxury car but owes the bank for every bolt in the engine, he does not own that car. The bank owns him, and he is just the driver they have hired to maintain the asset. This is the great illusion of the treadmill. It makes us look like we are moving fast while we are standing in the same place, getting older and more tired. Now we are going to talk about the hack. To stop the treadmill, you have to stop feeding the gears. This is not about cutting coupons or living a life of misery. This is about a tactical withdrawal from the debt-based economy. The first step in the hack is what I call the decoupling. You must break the mental link between your self-worth and the things the treadmill shows you on the screen. The system uses your ego against you. It tells you that you deserve things now. You must counter this with the realization that you deserve freedom more than you deserve objects. The practical application of the hack involves 3 distinct movements. First, you must map the leash. You need to look at every single dollar you owe not as a number but as an amount of time. If you earn $20 an hour and you have a $2,000 credit card balance, you do not owe $2,000. You owe 100 hours of your life. When you see it as life force, the math changes. You start to realize that the bank is not just taking your money. They are taking your Tuesday afternoons. They are taking your Sunday mornings. They are taking the time you could be spending with your children or building your own dream. Second, you must create a friction buffer. The system relies on the fact that life is unpredictable. It knows that your car will break or your roof will leak. When those things happen and you have no savings, you are forced to go back to the debt machine. You swipe the card, the gears tighten, and you are back on the incline. To break this, you must prioritize a small, liquid pile of cash that sits outside the system. This is not an investment. It is an emergency brake. Even a small amount of money that belongs entirely to you changes your psychology. It gives you the power to handle a crisis without selling more of your future. Third, you must practice aggressive ownership. This means you only acquire what you can truly own. If you cannot buy it twice in cash, you cannot afford it. This sounds radical because the system has made the alternative seem normal. But remember, the system's version of normal is a heart attack at 55 and a bank account at 0. By refusing to participate in the debt cycle, you become a ghost in the machine. You are there, you are working, but you are not powering the belt. You are keeping your energy for yourself. As you implement this hack, something strange will happen. You will notice that the treadmill starts to slow down. The screen at the front might still be flashing images of things you want, but they will start to look like what they are: pixels and light. You will feel a lightness in your chest because your time is starting to belong to you again. You are no longer running to stay in place. You are standing still, catching your breath, and looking around at the field for the first time. You are beginning to see the other people on their own treadmills, and you are realizing that you don't have to be one of them. Freedom in this stage looks like a quiet house. It looks like a car that is paid for, even if it is 10 years old. It looks like a bank statement that does not show interest payments going out to a billionaire's holding company. It is the freedom of the no. When you don't owe the system, you can say no to the overtime that takes you away from your family. You can say no to the boss who treats you with disrespect. You can say no to the culture of more that leaves you feeling like less. You have successfully stepped off the first belt. You have dismantled the most obvious trap. You are no longer a battery for the debt machine. However, do not get comfortable just yet. While you have stopped the physical drain of your labor through debt, you are still standing in the field where the machines are built. You have reclaimed your time, but now you have a new problem. You have your time and perhaps a little bit of your own money, but you are still operating within a landscape where the very ground you stand on is owned by the same people who built the treadmills. You have stopped the bleeding, but you haven't yet learned how to heal the wound or build your own world. The system is deeper than just the money you owe. It is in the way you think about value itself. You have cleared the first level, but as the dust settles and your breath returns to normal, you might notice that while you are no longer running, you are still trapped inside a much larger fence. The debt was just the most visible part of the cage. Now that you are not distracted by the constant running, you are going to start noticing the walls. You have mastered the math of your own life, but the system has a different kind of math for the world at large. It is a math that decides who gets to own the field and who only gets to walk on it. Now that you are no longer a slave to the past through debt, you must face the reality of how the system tries to control your future through the very things you now hope to build. You have escaped the treadmill, but you are still inside the factory.